7-day Millionaire Challenge, day 3. Hey everybody, thanks for coming again so much. What we decided to do is we upgraded our set. I think there were some complaints about our set, right? And so we've upgraded our set. We want to introduce to you Kevin and Laura Schaefer. Say hi.
Hi everybody.
Hi guys.
Tonight, among other things, we're going to talk about protégés. And so if we're going to talk about protégés, we're going to bring in the best. And these two are the best when it comes to protégés.
When do they show up?
And that's why we want to introduce you to them and get a feel for it. So that's what's kind of important for us here. In tonight's subject,
yes.
Why don't you pray for us first? Because our organization for this today has been all over the place, so we need prayer right this minute.
We do, don't we?
Kevin and Laura walk in and say, seriously, this is how you prepare for this?
We're so glad you're here. We just love interacting with you. It's a privilege.
We read your comments. We read all your comments, and they bless us. They bless us, don't they?
Yeah.
All right, say a prayer.
Okay. Dear God, I love you. You're my master mentor. Holy Spirit, you're my trusted teacher, and I'm your protege. I invite your presence today. Teach me how to receive favor and prosperity and wisdom and recognize greatness in others. Develop greatness in each one of us, Lord, so we can pass it on. Speak things to the heart today that the people most need to hear.
Amen.
And let the impartation change everyone here. And please don't let them stay the same. Change them from the inside out, Lord. Give them a hope and a future that they didn't even know could be possible. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen. Okay, so tonight I like to think of this as more nuts and bolts. So we've talked to you about seed time and harvest, and we've discussed the honor seed and sowing up to go up. So those are big concepts that you have to understand to get a hold of everything else we're talking about. But when you begin to do this, you need some nuts and bolts. And one of them is when you begin to sow up to people, it's going to put you in a position where you can be mentored. So you need to know how to find a mentor, and you need to know how to be a protege, because your seed will put you in front of it and then you'll fumble it because you don't know the right way to handle it.
You could have the best mentor, and if you dishonor them, they'll split.
Or you might pick the wrong one. And so there's a lot of different things here. So what I call about this mentoring and protégés, this is the nuts and bolts, because your seed is going to put you in front of some of these. And once you are, you need to be ready to handle it once you're there.
That's true,
right?
honey.
So these are two of the excellent protégés.
They
Kevin and
wrote
Laura.
the book.
So we've known them for 10 years now. Where were they when we met them?
They were hideous.
Oh, they number one, they looked horrible. They were terribly disfigured. It's taken us 10 years to get them to this point right here. But where were they?
Kevin looks like, you know the movie Tangled? He looks like the prince.
The Disney prince?
Yeah. No, the good guy.
Oh,
Have you ever seen Tangled?
I can't think of his name right now, but that's Kevin, and Laura's she's just a princess all around. Look at her Disney princess eyes and beautiful smile.
But what I meant was, where were they in life?
I just care what they look like. No, Laura was a college student, 21 when we met. And Kevin was
22.
He was 20, yeah. And Kevin was working for a landscaping company, and for his pay, they paid his cell phone bill. That was good enough for him. He just didn't have a lot of...
it was a complicated
Kevin
situation.
defended that too. He felt like that was good, you know.
Yeah,
So here we are 10 years forward.
Now
the name of their business is?
Streamline Medical.
Streamline Medical. And Streamline Medical has 5 employees. And what they do is they are in the medical device sales.
Surgical implant sales.
So what they'll do is they go into operations with neurosurgeons and pediatric orthopedic surgeons, providing them equipment for things that they're going to, equipment for their knee or this, or screws for the brain or cages, right?
Believe it or not.
So in 10 years, they've grown this business. They've got 5 employees. On
They're
top,
this close to being millionaires.
on top of that, they
From a cell phone.
All right.
A
and
flip phone.
on top of that, they
It
That's
wasn't
a
even
nice
a good one.
cell phone. It was great.
on top of that, Kevin and Laura are doing multiple streams of income, so they have got commercial units for rent. How many units do you have?
About 40.
So he's got
40 units.
40 commercial units. So he's also understands the principle of multiple streams of income coming in. So that's a very, very interesting 10 years. It's been a very, very fruitful 10 years.
And 2 kids and another one on the way.
Sorry.
And now as we come into the 10th year, we have switched roles and they have begun to mentor us.
That's
And now
not
we
true.
are the protégés. So
The mento has become the mentee.
yeah, something like that. You're not helping.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I'm
so,
just really happy. I'm really happy tonight to be with my buddies.
So
I'm just giddy.
we're excited to have them because they are true examples of what the mentor and protege relationship can look like and what it leads to, and it's very fulfilling for both sides. For sure on our side. I'm not speaking for these two.
For sure, on our side.
So that's what we want to do. So that's what's important here that we want to kind of cover tonight.
Yes.
But before we do that, you might need to ask the question, do I actually need a mentor? Because maybe you don't.
Maybe you're all that and a bag of chips.
So Jude's got a test for you.
We do. I'm going to read the questions and Laura's going to give the answers after.
But so first what we want to do is take 1 second here,
Yeah.
grab a piece of paper and a pencil, and she's going to ask 10 questions. I'm not
I
sure.
think 6 or 7.
6 or 7
Yeah, a few
questions.
questions. Maybe
You,
6.
you're going to have 2 seconds to write down the answer.
6.
So do it quickly, and we're going to move through this in a hurry.
Yes.
So this is a test to decide, do you need a mentor?
Okay, I've never done this online before, so I'm only going to ask the question once. They're simple questions from your childhood, and they won't take any thought. Just write it down, and we'll go to the next one. And second, no talking, laughing, or cheating.
Kevin's taking it again.
Apparently-
I'm
with
going
you.
to see if I.
That's better if you have an audience when you say no talking,
know.
laughing, or cheating. So, but anyway, go ahead.
That's why I said it's the first time I've done it online. Okay, so this is what you do. I'm going to ask the question. Just quietly write down the answer. 5 seconds per question. That's all you need. The questions are easy. Okay, are you ready? Question number 1. How many of each animal did Moses take into the ark? Just write down your short answer and we'll go to question 2. Question 2. You can look at me for this one. What is the name of the raised print that deaf people use? Write down your answer nice and quick. Number 3. This is one where you'll respond verbally. I'll ask you the question and respond out loud. Then I'll ask a second question, and when I do, quietly write down your answer, and we'll go to the next question. Here's the question. Spell the word shop. What do you do when you come to a green light? Write down your answer. We're almost done. Number 4. It is noon. You look at the clock. The big hand is on the 3 and the little hand is on the 5. What time is it? Number 5. Here's another audible one. I'll ask you the question and just answer out loud in your house. And then I'll ask the second question without talking. Write down your answer. Here's the question. Spell the word silk. What do cows drink? Write down your answer. Here's the final question. Listen carefully. You're the driver of a train. There are 30 people on board. At the first stop, 10 people get off. At the second stop, 5 people get on. Here's the question. What's the name of the train driver? Okay, ready for the answers?
All right, in full disclosure, we failed this test miserably the first time we took it. So don't feel bad if you didn't ace this. But okay, ready for the answers. Question number 1. How many of each animal did Moses take into the ark? Who wrote down 2 by 2 or anything like that? Probably a lot of people.
2.
What was
The answer is,
Tell the
listen
answer.
to the question. How many of each animal did Moses take into the ark?
Moses
You
didn't
didn't
take
put
any
the answer
people
on
in
there,
there.
though. Right, that's the
Right.
answer, but you just wrote.
That's the answer.
Keep it with him.
I read it wrong. You read it wrong.
So-
0.
The answer
Zero.
would be
Because
0.
Moses didn't take any animals.
There you
under
go.
that.
I better take over.
Oh my God, you failed the test twice. Yeah, we gave you the cheat sheet and you failed the test
I
again.
was going off the notes. I know all these answers. Let me do the next one.
Never mind, they're going to have to go home.
All right, you try again. I'll give you one more chance.
Okay, the next question was, what's the name of the raised print that deaf people use? And most people probably wrote down Braille, right?
Mhm.
Well, unfortunately, that wasn't the answer because deaf people don't need to use Braille. That's blind people that use
There you
Braille.
go. There you go.
These answers are not on here.
Tricky.
By the way. I remember that.
Did anyone get that, Ron?
Did you get it wrong?
No, I think I'm doing good so far.
This is like the 8th time you've taken this.
This
That's
is-
why. Okay, the next
Good
question.
odds.
Spell the word shop. S-H-O-P. And then what do you do when you come to a green light? Did anyone say stop? Because that was wrong. It's go. You go when you get to a green
Go,
light.
baby.
The next one. It is noon. You look at the clock. The big hand is on the 3 and the little hand is on the 5. What time is it?
I need those numbers.
Did anyone say 5:15?
Yeah.
That's a tough one at first. It's actually noon because at the very beginning it says it is noon.
Broken clock.
Did anyone get that one, Ron?
No, I got that right.
Kevin, I'm checking you. Okay, the next one. Spell the word silk. S-I-L-K. What do cows drink? Not milk. It's
They
water.
drink
water.
They drink water. And the last one. You're the driver of a train. There are 30 people on board. At first, the first stop, 10 people get off. At the second stop, 5 people get on. Here's the question. What's the name of the train driver? Does anyone know this one?
It's your own name. You're
Because
the
you're
driver.
of the train.
Yes. Very good.
Good
Laura.
job, Laura. I did okay. I got all of them right.
It took them like 10
Okay.
years.
For the
to
first
get this
time in
right.
10 years.
So
You did
if you didn't get all of these right, then you could use a mentor. But this test shows that you can believe something with your whole heart and be 100% wrong.
Mhm.
A lot of times when you're really close to something, you don't see the answer. I don't know if you guys noticed the picture that I had up. Will you put it up for a minute, Stephen? So the picture says the word you twice. But see how we look at something and we think that it's fine, but it isn't? That's why you need a mentor, because a mentor is a person who has been through some things and maybe they've seen the picture before. And so they'll be able to tell you what's wrong with it. And having somebody to do that for you can save you decades of heartache and failure.
So in our world today, we see it all the time in movies. So let's go Karate Kid. Karate Kid, right? He's got him painting the fence. He's got him waxing the car. He's got him sanding the floor.
Yeah.
And by the time he gets to the end of all that, he's mad and he goes, I'm not learning karate. I'm just doing your chores for you. And the mentor knows where he's going. He is teaching him karate. He's teaching him proper way to do it.
Yeah.
The protege doesn't understand that, but the mentor does. So the mentor knows something. You ever watch the movie Hitch?
Oh.
I like the movie Hitch, and there's a critical part in it where the protege gets a date that he wants, this first date with this girl. And his mentor says, but it's not about her, it's about her friend. Because if you can get in with her friend, you will be in with her. So at this date, focus on her good friend, and it will do. See, the protege doesn't understand this. The mentor knows something that the protege doesn't.
That's right.
And then I'll give you one more. It's my favorite, and it's probably not enough guys in the audience, but it's Hunt for Red October. In the middle of Hunt for Red October, there's a scene, and it's a submarine, where there's a guy driving the sub, and there's 2 people yelling at him, and there's a torpedo coming at the sub. And the one commander says, steer into the torpedo. And everybody's yelling, no, drive away from the torpedo. But he knows you can't outrun it, so the commander has him steer into the torpedo. Well, what happens is the torpedo can't arm itself in time, and it hits the sub, and it, dismantles, and it doesn't hurt anybody. The point of all these things are the mentor knows something that the protege doesn't. And that's why mentors are important. That's why you can make mistakes or you can have a mentor. Mentors know things and see things, the bigger picture, that the proteges don't. That's what's important here. And when your seed allows you to get in front of the right mentor, you need to understand that they know something you don't know. And that's why you have to submit to them.
So good.
Right? Okay. So what's our next part of this?
Well, the Bible says don't lean on your own understanding, and that's basically what this is all about. And the book of Proverbs is full of verses on not leaning on your own understanding. So promotion always comes through someone in authority. So the person that you're connected to has the power to promote you and has the power to give you access to people that you would never have access to.
That's good.
Yep. In the book of Esther, Cheryl Salem teaches, she has a teaching on this. If you want to go to Salem Family Ministries and get the Esther teaching, it's the best teaching. I've heard it like 100 times and I love it so much. But Esther wanted to be queen. And Mordecai was dressing all of the girls. But what the thing is, if the girls didn't get chosen, then they got to keep everything that they had on. So after the girls saw a couple girls not get chosen, they kind of lost their hope. And so they put so many things on because they knew they would get to keep it if they didn't get chosen. But when Esther, and when it was her turn, she said the most beautiful thing. She trusted Mordecai. And she said, Mordecai, I want nothing to hide me from my king. I only want to wear, what do you think he would want to see me in? And she let Mordecai dress her, and she got picked. And it's just a good example of the mentor-protege.
Mentor knew something that the protege didn't.
Yeah.
That's right.
And then she got to be queen, and then they were having a problem there, and Mordecai went to her and said, hey, you were born for such a time as this, you better take a stand. And she listened to him again. Even though she was queen now, she stayed under his mentorship, and she ended up being instrumental in the saving of the Jews. And it's such a good teaching. So that's Salem Family Ministries. If you Google it and get that teaching, you will be so blessed by it. So
we can talk about mentors or we can talk about proteges. We're going to do both. Should we start with mentors?
Yeah.
So let's start with mentors. A lot of tips. So our point so far to this point is that a mentor knows something you don't know in a given area. And you can have mentors for your marriage, for your business, for your finances, for your spiritual growth. And they all might be 4 or 5 different mentors. So one mentor isn't a fit-all subject. And because my mentor in my business is brilliant, that doesn't necessarily mean he's my mentor for my marriage.
that's right.
So you can have multiple mentors in your life given what area you want. I'm always encouraging my kids, in your business life, whatever it is, seek a mentor. Because they'll take you places, they've been down the path you want, they can light it up for you and show you the right way to go. A truly good mentor can. And a mentor isn't always your parent. Certainly your parent mentors you, but it's a different relationship. Mentors you need to be accountable to.
That's right.
It's very, very important. So we've talked about your seed can put you in front of mentors.
Can I ask a practical question?
You can.
So I don't think anybody will deny that having a mentor is a good idea.
Yeah.
Everybody wants one. And practically, though, what's it look like? So if I'm a young guy and I want help from somebody, and somebody comes to you, John, and they say, out of the blue, John, will you be my mentor? What does that conversation look like? How does it go, and how does it make you feel? And where do you go from there?
Or how could you do it better? As a
Well, is
potential
that a good way to
protege?
do
How
it?
could you?
Or how do you do it in a different way?
this is let me put the, not that that hasn't happened to me, but I think the better way to do it is start by sowing a small seed. Hey, would you be available for me to take you to lunch? Would you be available for me to take you to coffee? Could I, and present it somewhere where you can do something for them, because I'd like to talk to you. And that is how I would say, because don't just, attack them like that. Say, I wonder if I could take you to coffee, take you to lunch, take you to this, and talk to you about some of concerns I have in ways that maybe you can guide me. Now, that's number one, right? So hopefully you'll get to that point. And then once that point is, when you sit down with a mentor, you need to be ready for bear and loaded. In other words, you have questions, and I would have them written down and know what you're going to ask. Do not waste your mentor's time. And it is your job to pursue the mentor. It's not the mentor's job to pursue the protege. And I think that that's an important thing. But don't waste your mentor's time, and don't be all over the ballpark, and don't sit there and go, mentor me. That's not how it works. How mentorship works is to say, this is the area that I have concerns in, my financial. I'm starting a business. My marriage, I want a better marriage. Be very specific about what you want and what you're going for, and have questions listed out, because then the mentor has something to tie into and can decide. And quite frankly, at that first meeting, it's a good source to say, maybe I'm not the right guy for you. If you want help with X, I'm not the right person for you. And a mentor that is truly good and humble will be square with you and say,
That's right.
I'm not the right person for you. Or I can't help you right now, or I don't have the bandwidth for you right now. And and that can happen.
Yeah.
And then you need to go on to the next, right?
Yeah.
So that's important.
I think that's a much easier way to go about it than just saying, hey, mentor me. Because I know you've had people that have said that to you, and John, you've had people that said that to you, and I just can't imagine it.
And you
goes
still
over
try,
very well all the time.
but you still.
Well, if somebody does ask me, what I do is I give them an assignment. I say, oh, well, read this book and then call me. And 9 times out of 10, I never hear from them again. It's a test, but they don't know it. And if they aren't willing to read a simple book that I assign to them, they're not going to listen to me. They're not ready for a mentor. And in the Bible, Jesus, he said, follow me and I'll make you a fisher of men. He didn't say, follow me and I'll give you anything. He said, I'll make you as a form and a fashion. But you have to follow him. So if he says, read a book, you have to do it. And in the prodigal son said to the father, give me my inheritance. And then he ran and he wasted it on riotous living. But he said, uh-oh, my money's all gone and my friends are gone too all of a sudden. And he came to his senses and he said, I'm going to go back to the father. So he went back to his father and he said, Father, make me a servant. He was ready to be made. And that's why the father celebrated. So when you're thinking, oh, I'm going to have a mentor, they're going to give me. No, if anything, you're going to be giving to them. You're going to be serving them, sowing into them, sitting at their feet. You're the one with the job when you're a protege. When you get a mentor, you're the one with the job.
And the mentor's going to give you direction, and he's going to give you assignments, but it's not his job to hold your hand through every second and do it for you. A true mentor is going to give you direction, but it's your job to take action on it.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's very important.
And one thing I have here, be willing to take correction from the mentor. Laura, do you have a story about that?
Like 100 stories about
made her
that.
cry a couple times.
Just like 10. Oh, man.
But she never ran.
No. I'm back for more.
Well, yeah, but yours is with a steel-toed boot.
Well, no, but
I deserved it. I know I did.
There's two kinds. There's sledgehammer
and scalpel.
and scalpel. Jude's is more of a, not finesse, more of a sledgehammer. I think I would prefer a scalpel more, but that's
Sometimes I see other people going through it with Jude's, and I'm just like rookie.
You know, when you grow, there's correction. There's just always correction. So that's one of the points is you have to be willing to take correction.
Yeah.
You know, when I got disciplined at my church, I just took it.
Yeah.
Not only did I take it, I paid them $100 for doing it. But they deserved it because it's no fun having to correct somebody.
Right. So if you're looking for, I've got a handful here. Uncommon mentors. Here's some of my list. Okay. An uncommon mentor is the master key to success for the mentor.
Yeah, I believe that.
Right? Can paralyze your enemies against you.
That's true.
Guarantees your promotion.
Woohoo!
Guarantees your promotion.
I believe that.
Yeah.
You guys,
Yeah.
you found
Lived
promotion
that.
through it.
An uncommon mentor will require pursuit. He doesn't need to know what you know. You need to know what he knows.
That's right. So
And
you
the
have to
proof-
learn how to be quiet around them.
Yeah.
And proof of desire is in the pursuit.
That's right. You know what God's biggest pleasure is? When we believe Him. When He says something to us and we believe Him and we act on it. And that's any teacher. They love having a student who's ready to learn. And so a teachable heart's a really important part of it too.
That's right. So the one of mine is a truly uncommon mentor is more interested in your success than your affection. He's more focused. His focus is not on celebrating you. His focus on correcting you. Right?
Yeah.
So there's a little verse here that we kind of do. Your best friend is comfortable with your past. Your mentor is comfortable with your future. Your best friend ignores your weaknesses. Your mentor removes your weaknesses.
Ooh, I like it.
That's really
Who doesn't want their weaknesses removed?
Your best friend is your cheerleader. Your mentor is your coach. Your best friend sees what you do right. Your mentor sees what you do wrong. And lastly, your best friends love you the way you are. Your mentor loves you way too much to leave you that way.
I love that one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And that's really about the mentor relationship is,
It really is.
right?
Yeah.
So you if you're looking for that in your mentor, you're seeking somebody that's humble, because the guide should never be the star of the show, and the mentor is the guide. And if he's the star of the show, then that lacks humility. It's about the protege and lifting them up. So one of the qualities of a good mentor is humility, if you ask me. They don't need to be the star of the show. I've got a couple more here. They don't overhelp. They don't do it for you.
Yeah.
They give you an assignment, right?
Yeah.
And you have to do it. They might point you in the direction, but it's your job to do it. They give you something to read. It's your job to read it and come back and explain what you know.
Yes.
They don't overhelp. So I think that there's a misconception when somebody gets a mentor that, well, I'm going to sit back. They're going to do it all for me. They're going to give me every move to make. They're going to go look up what I need to do. They're going to file the
They're
paperwork
gonna
for
make
me.
the connections for you.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's not it. They're there to,
So, John, you said you have a business mentor, and when you ask him things, you guys set goals together, and he holds you accountable to those goals, but he doesn't achieve those for you.
That's right.
Yeah, and what happened? Tell the story about the time when you went back so proud.
So I struck up a relationship, and I was very excited because this guy was, he is a true hero of mine in my industry, and was willing to mentor me. So I think it was the second phone call we had, second quarter, and we had agreed on the goals that we were going to achieve for the first quarter, and there were 8 of them, and I was so excited to get on the phone with him because I've got 6 of these done, and I run through the 6 and this happened and this, and we accomplished this, and I was so my chest was out to here. I couldn't wait, and I'm so done. And when I get done, he says, "Okay, that's great. What about these 2?" Well, I didn't get time to get to these 2, but look at the 6 that I've accomplished. And he says, no. Why didn't we get these 2 done? What's the excuse for that? Why is that? And I've never been so politely spanked in my whole life. But when I got off that call, I thought, I am never getting on a call again if I've committed to doing whatever I've committed to do, it's going to be done. I'm never going to do that again. So that was one of the first times I got politely spanked and corrected.
When I wrote this book, Donna mentored me, and I just purposed in my heart I was going to be the best protege, and I was going to do everything she asked me as quick as I could. And so she would give me something, and then sometimes toward the end, when we were getting it published, it was something that John needed to be involved in. And so I would call him at work and I'd say, John, we have to do this as soon as possible. And I would be really, and so then he said,
Who's
boy.
Donna? Donna who?
And then he's met Don and he's like, boy, you really cracked the whip. But she never cracked it. She just kind of looked at him. I cracked it because I wanted to be a good protege. It's really important. When somebody is taking time out of their life to make you better and to make you more, to make them happy they did it. And there's no greater joy for a mentor is when a little protege shines. So.
But the outcome of this has been, when the name Donna is mentioned around here, we all go, what? As soon as somebody says Donna, we all jump up. Oh, hey, what do we got to do? We got to write something, we got to do something, put it on paper.
As soon as possible.
Okay, a couple other elements of a truly good mentor. Truth with compassion. Okay?
Oh, I can teach that one.
It's a little bit of our sledgehammer versus the finesse of a scalpel.
Yeah.
But you want somebody that's going to be truthful with you. That doesn't mean they hurt you. That doesn't mean that. But I listened to Donna do it. I listened to Donna do it with you, right?
Yeah.
No.
She said, 1,000% you cannot do that. 1,000%. Go.
But that's truth, but with compassion. Because in the meantime, she's telling you, this part's great. This part's great.
Yeah.
This needs to be changed. And here are the reasons why. And so it was very truthful. She doesn't even begin to hide behind that, right?
No, and if I would have done this book without her, it would have been kicked off of Amazon by now. Because a couple of things that I said, oh, I'm going to try this, and she said, no, 1,000% no, and they will kick you off the platform, and you will not have Amazon. I was like, oh, and then I'm thinking,
because
my mentor just earned everything right there.
Because the mentor walked the path and
She
knows
knew.
where you needed to go, and you didn't have a clue what the path looked like.
I didn't know. And I dodged a bullet. A
And
bunch
then-
of them.
And then I would say the other one is courage and candor.
Yeah.
The mentor has, at times for the protege, it might feel hard, but they have to be there has to be candor with you, and there has to be courage to tell you, here's what you're doing wrong, because I love you enough, or I want you to succeed enough, or I'm invested enough in this that I want you to be better. So those are the elements of a really, truly good mentor. If someone comes up to you and says, I want to mentor you, to me personally, that's a little bit of a red flag.
It's more about them, the
That's
mentor,
right.
than the program.
Now they want to be the star of the show,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And
And they're usually controlling people.
right. A mentor isn't controlling. A mentor helps light the path, but they don't control it.
That's right.
And they let you fail, because at times when you fall down, that's part of the learning process for under mentorship.
It doesn't mean that a mentor will never present like, hey, if you ever need help, or I'll be happy to help you. That's okay. But when they come to you and said, I'm going to mentor you, I'm going to make you this and that, and come follow me. See, Jesus didn't do that.
Nope.
Remember the rich young ruler? He said, oh, come follow me. Sell all you have and come follow me. He was inviting the rich young ruler to be his protege, which, wow. But the rich young ruler, he needed a mentor before he answered. He answered out of his own ineptness, and he went away sad. He said, no, this money is more valuable than your mentorship. But it wasn't.
Okay, so now let's flip the script.
Okay.
So you kind of know what to look for in a mentor. And we've given you some principles, and we're glad to try to help with that. But once you're in that position, you need to understand what your role as a protege, because you, if you don't, will chase a great mentor away.
Yeah,
You will wreck the seed that you've planted.
Dishonor
Right.
will
That's number
disqualify
one.
you
Yeah.
right away.
Right. So it's important, because a lot of people, oh yeah, this sounds wonderful. I want to be mentored.
Yeah.
Careful. Careful what you say, because if you truly do, then the first thing you'll do is study what does it truly mean to be a good protege, because that will get you the best mentor.
I agree.
So let's talk about proteges for a minute.
Okay.
So what are the
Well, the word protege means protected. Because when you're under the proper mentor, you are protected from so many things, failures, mistakes, pitholes.
falls?
Yeah, those two.
And
Pitfalls or
and
pitholes?
Pitholes, pitfalls.
Both of them? It will cover both of them. No, it covers both of them.
We made sure of that.
Yeah, we've tested both the holes and the pitfalls.
Okay, that's a good word. So give us some of a great protege.
Oh, I thought you were talking to our proteges.
Well,
I can tell you what made them great.
go.
A teachable spirit, a teachable heart.
Number one, a teachable
heart.
Right.
Number two, a willingness to be corrected.
But let's go back to a teachable heart for a minute.
All right.
Okay. If I've sat down with people and what they want to do is say, this is my plan. And so I will start to say, well, I think that there's a problem with that. No. You're not listening. And give me the plan again. And I say, well, okay, but I think that you're missing this element over here. No. See, you don't understand. That's not
a teachable heart, honey.
No. You sit at their feet hoping for the wisdom that they have.
Mm-hmm.
You need to have a teachable heart,
That's so good.
right?
Yeah.
Right. So when Laura got out of school,
Tell us the story, Laura.
Well, I graduated from nursing school at Michigan State, and I was 22, newly married, and without a job. So my first stop was to talk to John and Judy about. I knew I wanted to go into nursing, but I didn't have any route planned out. I didn't have any idea of really how I wanted to go about that. So, gosh, I remember just sitting down at the table talking to you, kind of hashing out some ideas, and it came up that John and Judy had some friends who were physicians, and I think you, I can't remember if you told me or didn't tell me that you sent my resume in for me. I don't remember which way.
Well,
but,
we just talked to him and said, hey, will you interview her?
Yeah.
She's fresh out of college.
I was too nervous
And
to even apply.
He was a neurosurgeon.
Yeah. Which
And
was
so-
way out of my league as a brand new nurse, so I didn't even consider applying there on my own.
Well, he said to me, Judy, we only hire people with 5 years experience. It's a really high stress
Yeah.
part of the field. And we've never hired anyone with less than 5 years experience. But because of your connection to me, I will interview her. But we aren't going to hire her. But I'll interview her.
So my first step before anything else was to talk with John and Jude's about the interview process. I'd never gone through a formal interview before. And that to this day, John, you gave the best advice.
It was so wise.
It's so good. It's a whole nother thing, but he could write a book on interviewing skills, because that was when I first went to the interview. The office manager sat me down. She wasn't happy that I was there because, again, they don't hire anyone with less than 5 years of experience. And she said, I don't know how this resume ended up on my desk, but it's here. So here we go. Let's interview. I'm like, oh man, this isn't good already. So as soon as we started the interview process, I was interviewing with her and a couple of the nurses, and I just kept recalling what John and I had talked about and how to answer these questions and how to ask follow-up questions, and somehow won the hearts of these two nurses and the office manager. So then I got moved on to the next stage, which was interviewing with some of the surgeons, and had another round with John before that, and it ended up getting hired at this wonderful practice, and I was there for 6 years as a nurse before transitioning to the medical sales role.
So my buddy called me and said, I can't believe it, but we've hired this girl, and we've never hired anybody without 5 years of experience. But what we tried to display in her interview is we're going to go hard. We're going to face this head on.
Yeah.
I don't have any experience. What I want you to do is display a fact that you have a teachable heart, because anybody that you're hiring, you want to know. So I wanted Laura to ask a lot of questions to display she had a teachable heart. What do kids coming out of school think they know but they don't know? Who are your best nurses? What are the qualities of the best nurses?
Yeah.
We had a list of questions, because what we were trying to display is the more you ask, the more the interviewer realizes this kid is teachable.
Yeah.
They want to be better. They want to understand. I could actually take this person and mold them instead of taking somebody from 5 years and try to break their bad habits. I got a piece of clay here that I could mold.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But
And
What
we
hap-
even dressed her.
Yeah, and wear your clothes.
It was
I
like
didn't have
Mordecai
any
and
interview
Esther.
clothes. I was like, oh, yeah.
But what was fun for us through the experience is, oh my gosh, we've got a young person here that is so teachable that if we say, go stand on your head in the corner for an hour, she went and stood on her head on the corner for an hour. That was just a wonderful experience because
For all of us.
most young people think, I got this. Well, I know this. And you don't know what you don't know.
That's right.
So, teachable, right?
Teachable heart, willingness to be corrected.
My next one is servant's heart.
Yes.
An
That
unusual
is so
That's my
good.
favorite.
An unusual protege has to have a servant's heart. It has to be about your mentor, not about you. Don't worry. The seed is in the ground. It's going to come up. The harvest is going to happen. They need to have a servant's heart. So they need to take an approach that, what can I do for you? I know you're going to do things for me through this relationship. What can I do for you? And these two are outstanding examples of what can I do for you, right?
That's right.
I come home and my lawn's mowed. Kevin's come over and just mowed my lawn. It's not a big thing, but it is for me because I don't have to do it.
Yeah.
And I'm going, oh my God, the lawn looks great. And what? Kevin came over and mowed it, right? What else did they do?
Well, Laura, every time if we were having a dinner party or something, she would come over and she would be my little sous chef. That was a couple times
I
what
wore
made her
an
cry.
It was most of the times, yeah.
It was usually a cooking
It
thing
was,
for some
yeah.
reason.
I-
But,
yeah, it was.
She would help me in the kitchen, and just when you're side by side with somebody and you're talking as
Some
you're
of the
working and
great
you're
conversations happen.
and impartation.
Yeah. It's so
Kevin
many
says,
questions.
hey, you're taking this trip. Let me drive you to the airport in Detroit so you don't have to park a car. Or he finds out that I'm doing something on my deck or something and he comes over. None of these things are ever asked. We never say, hey, can you? It's always them pursuing us saying, let us help with this, let us help with that.
Yeah.
And what it does is they have such a servant's heart, it gives us a heart, but it also puts us in, it puts you with time, face time with the mentor. And that's where
You learn the things that you can't learn out of a book.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good, Kevin.
You learn how they live and how they interact. And
You learn how they are friends. You learn how they argue. You learn how they, you can't read that. You can't. You just have to be there for it. And
there's no other way to be there
There's
for
not.
it.
So the way that she got her job was through a connection that we had that she would have had no way of having access to.
I wouldn't have even tried.
She wouldn't have gotten her resume past the door.
I didn't even have my nursing license when I interviewed for that, so I just wouldn't have even tried.
Now, so in a relationship, a mentor relationship can be very, and it can only a mentor relationship doesn't need to be for a life. It can be for a season. Maybe you've got a business mentor. Maybe you want some help with this or that. So don't make a mistake that one mentor isn't a fit all,
Yeah.
and a relationship isn't for life
And
necessarily.
sometimes it's just for a season.
And sometimes it's just for a season. So that's it. We've kind of moved on from that because they've gotten our hearts. So now they're not.
Now they're more like our kids.
We protect them like children. So what we have, we want them to
And
have
we've
access
taken them
to.
on vacations with
Yeah.
us, and they
true.
became.
It
What
is
happened
fun.
was they became so valuable to us
Right.
that we wanted them around us all the time, and then now our hearts are knitted together, and it's
But
like a
it was-
lifetime thing.
But when they were there, it was always about how they could serve us in some manner with us
Yeah.
never asking. They always first thought was, what can I make? How can I make their life simple?
Yeah.
And it gets into our heart in a hurry, doesn't
And
it?
that's my favorite kind of seed because when we were 21, Kevin was working for a cell phone, and I didn't have a job. We didn't have money to really upward sow very much. I mean, we had a little bit that we could do, but really it was seeds of service and seeds of honor. That's what we really sowed at the beginning, and ended up just we got our socks blessed off because of it. But yeah, I think that was those are my favorite seeds to
And
sow.
Kevin wanted to learn about real estate, and we had another buddy in real estate, and we connected them, and he was mentored by him for a little season, and then he learned a lot. And then, how many units do you have now?
We ventured off on my own and was able to move from single family into multifamily and turn it into more of a business.
And you have
Probably about 40 units.
40 units. Look how young they are. When you get it, you get there really quick. So number 3 is be committed to the process. So you know the story in the Bible about Naomi and Ruth. So Naomi was the mother, and Ruth was her daughter-in-law, and all of her sons died. And one daughter-in-law was named Orpah, and one was named Ruth. Orpah wasn't committed to the process. She said, "I'm out, see ya." And then Ruth said, "I'm not leaving you." And Naomi took her right to her Boaz, to her wealthy place. And even though it didn't look like her future was bright, because Naomi had nothing, she owned the whole field that she was gleaning in. And she ended up marrying the richest man in the area. And then she did have a bright future because she was committed to the process. And then Elisha was committed to the process. Elijah kept trying to get rid of him. He said, "Stay here while I go, and stay here while I go." And Elijah said, No, I'm going where you go. See, there are tests in life. And if you want the anointing that's on the person, you have to stay committed to the process.
It's not going to be fun at times.
No.
Because once in a
It's not all
while,
fun.
your mentor's going to have to correct you, and you're going to have to learn to take correction. But again, go back and realize they've seen something you haven't seen.
Yeah.
If the Karate Kid says, "That's it, I'm out of there," right? The movie ended. Right?
That's right.
If Hitch, if the guy didn't listen to Hitch, he's done dating the girl.
That's right.
You've got to be committed to the process and see it through, because your mentor knows something you don't know.
Yeah.
There's another story that's good on mentorship. It's Lot and Abraham. So Abraham heard this amazing word for God, and then Lot saw that Abraham was leaving. He said, "I'm coming with you. You can be my mentor." And so he's just stuck with Abraham because Lot wasn't called. He just went. And he went with Abraham, and Abraham was super blessed and super wealthy. And so Abraham's light was shining on Lot too. So Lot was getting blessed. Pretty soon they had too many cows, too much livestock, too much everything, too many men to take care of them. And the men started fighting. And instead of Lot saying, "Excuse me, Abraham is my mentor. He got us here. We're not going to fight with him. And you men better settle down." But instead he went to Abraham and said, "Hey, Abraham, there's not enough land anymore, and our men are fighting." And then Abraham said, "Well, let's split the land." And Lot took the best land and left. So he competed with him, and he went out from under his cover. And as soon as he did, his life tanked. He ended up in Sodom.
Yeah.
And then his daughter slept with him, and he just went down the slippery slope. The reason why he was so happy to leave Abraham is because he wasn't committed to the process. And he thought that the light that was shining on him was his light. It wasn't.
So we've got a couple more here, so I'll run through them, okay?
Okay.
So we've kind of covered a couple of them. Be willing to be held accountable.
Yeah.
It's tough. So if you say you want a mentor, then you need to know that you're going to be willing to be held accountable.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
Somebody like Donna, she wants you accountable. And if you're not going to be accountable, she does not have time for you. Right?
No, she won't call me and say, "How's the book going? Are you writing today?"
Right.
She didn't do that once.
The protege must be willing to pursue the mentor. We've covered that, right? You've got, it's not their job to come after you. You come after them.
That's right.
You seek them out. Be willing to invest in your mentor. We've discussed that.
That's number 6.
Right, and you can do it. My business mentor, I do all kinds of things. I've sent checks. I've given him watches. As I've grown in certain things, I've had opportunities to bring him on boards that I sit on. So I invest in him in every opportunity I have. Okay. Oh, this is really good. Be transparent with your mentor.
That is good.
Be transparent with your mentor, because here's the problem. You meet your mentor and you are usually in awe. You're usually and you want to present yourself in your best light.
That's so
That's
true.
nature, and I understand that. But the problem is, if you're not transparent, then he can't remove your problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got to be transparent and say, this is where I'm struggling. This is what I don't know, because then he can truly get to the heart of what you need to be
Yeah.
corrected by. So being transparent
A lot
is
quicker.
a huge one, and it's hard because you don't want to be transparent. Nobody wants to talk about where my problems are,
Right.
what I'm weak with, what I'm not very good at, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's humbling to come under their leadership.
And the last one, and these guys do a great job of this, is harness the power of questions. Kevin and Laura never come to us seeking something where they don't have a list of questions that they want to ask. They're very, they don't waste our time. They always come with a list. If it's a certain subject, they've got questions, and it's very helpful because you're not just all over the place. You're being very specific, and it helps your mentor.
Yeah.
Right? Be committed. Harness the power of questions.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any stories you want to tell or anything you want to say?
Well, one thing that I wanted to mention was once you enter into the inner circle of your mentors, and it takes some time to get there, but once you do, you really want to respect that circle.
right.
Because I can just think of times that I've seen, and I don't know, maybe even thought about it and then definitely decided it was a bad idea just throughout the years, but you get introduced to all their friends and their family, and you get to know everyone really well, and you start to kind of feel a little more confident and talking to everyone. And one really important point that I just want to make is don't ever try to circumvent your mentor,
That's a good
because it's really kind of a way to just crush their trust and their just, you know, you would trust that we wouldn't go behind you or around you and try to ask one of your
Yeah.
friends for something or try to establish, you know.
That
it's
would be
just-
like if Laura would have heard that we knew Chris and then gone to Chris without saying anything to us and said,
Yeah.
hey, John and Judy, I know that you're friends with them and I'm friends with them too, and so I feel like I can give you my
Yeah.
resume.
I feel like
So
it's
is
just,
that what you mean?
It is what, yeah, it's just taking
You're
100 steps backwards in your
Right.
relationship, you
That's
know.
right. That's right.
That's
So-
good.
Yeah, it's just something I think about a lot because as you get really close to people, you kind of start the rules. You feel like they relax, but some rules don't relax, and I feel like that's one of them.
That's good, Laura.
So where these two shine the most is in our first two, which is teachable heart and a servant's heart.
Yeah.
Right? They're
Well, they
outstanding
shine
in
in
that.
every
Oh my goodness.
category.
But that's where they're the best, and that's I think really critical as a protege. So again, the reason that we're going through this is because your seed has the ability to put you in front of outstanding mentors. We told you the story about our friend who upward gave, and now the billionaire says, I'd like to mentor you in finance.
That's awesome.
You're on the threshold.
Wow.
You're on the threshold. It's important to understand as a protege what your role is,
That's
because
right.
you don't want to blow that opportunity.
Nope.
Yeah.
Just listen to them.
And once you understand what it means to be a protege and go through some of the things we've talked about, then you can really be that. But maybe you don't want to be, because when you see what's required of you,
Yeah.
maybe it isn't such a good gig after all. I mean, it takes work, right?
It's
It
worth
isn't-
it.
Yeah, it's definitely
It's
worth
definitely
it.
worth
Right.
These are the two that I was telling the story about yesterday, I think, when I was telling the story about the $1 million bills and how
Yeah.
they had enough to bid on the grand prize, but they bid on the dinner with
Yeah.
all of their money.
I love that story.
I do too.
I still can't believe I didn't know he was going to Club 52 that day on our wedding day. I didn't find out until afterwards, but he still made it to the wedding.
What do you do the day of your wedding besides sit around and wait
Club
for the wedding?
52 ended at like 12 or 1, and our wedding was at 3. And he went to the
Plenty of time.
If I remember correctly, you didn't quite have the ring yet either.
No, it was in the
Club 52, stop at the store, to the church by 3. Simple.
He was still ready before I was, I think.
I would have, as a mentor, you didn't ask me that, and I would have said that was a poor decision.
We're very
If
early in our
we're
relationship.
reviewing it from 10 years ago, I don't know that was the smartest decision. It played out for you.
I did.
I don't know that's the advice I would have given you on that one. So I'm glad you didn't ask.
See, sometimes the mentor will say things to you that don't make sense. When I told them, put all your money on the dinner,
Yeah.
they didn't really know why I was saying to do that, but I just knew
Yeah.
that would touch Pastor Dave's heart in a way that nothing else could.
And you know, I still remember more about the dinner than probably the whole Florida conference that we went to.
Oh,
I
definitely.
mean, like, it just really touched my heart being with Pastor Dave and literally sitting at his table and at their feet and with you guys, and like, it was just.
It
I
puts you in
love
front
that.
of kings.
It does.
It puts you in front of kings.
I would still take that over going to any kind of conference any day.
That's
Me
right.
too.
That's right. It's always a little counterintuitive, but a true mentor knows that and wants
Yeah.
to
What
put you on the right path.
21-year-old would pick a dinner with the pastor over a trip to Florida? These
Yeah.
two.
That's right.
Well, these two with good mentors who taught them
That's
that. I
true.
don't know
That's
that,
very
but
true.
we wouldn't have seen that, that's for sure.
So this is kind of, for me, this is kind of nuts and bolts. So we've given you, you know, the seed and upward sowing, and that's all important. But now once that gets into action, you need to know what to do with it once you do. And at times, some of the upward sowing you did is going to put you in front of mentors that can change your life. Whether it be just in certain areas of your life, or maybe it turns mushrooms into something bigger. You need to be ready for it. So that's why mentors and protégés are so important. It's a kind of a nut and bolt type element. And I think we're gonna
And so remember how we teach that you should always be having a hand down, be willing to help other little protégés, but then be willing to have a hand up too, so that you can keep going higher and higher in life.
Yeah.
And even though John and I are mentors, I just got a mentor, Donna, to help me with an area of life that I wanted to move into that I didn't know about, and that was writing a book. So always keep doing both, helping people and then reaching up.
and remember, one mentor doesn't mean for everything.
That's
you
right.
you might in your life have
Donna's
5
probably
mentors.
not going to get rid of me anytime soon.
But you might have 5 mentors in your life, and it might be for your business and for your marriage or your spiritual walk, so it's okay to have it. And a mentor doesn't mean for life.
Yeah.
There's seasons that
That's right.
you go through that you need to maybe move to the next one because that has played its play. So there's no rules here for that. Just remember, because some people think, well, I need a mentor, and they're gonna cover everything.
Yeah.
Well, that isn't. You need to be discerning about. I want them for business, but what they have in their marriage isn't what I'm interested in, or what their religious walk is not my belief system.
Yeah.
So but that's okay because they can still elevate you, don't you think?
Definitely. Yeah.
Right.
Definitely. Yeah.
Okay, everybody. So we're there.
Okay, so
Yes.
just
Wow.
give the review how you do.
Okay, so we've got it. So we've got an action item, right?
Oh yeah, what is it?
So our action item is one. I want you to think about. I want you to really review what it means to be a protégé,
Yeah.
right? And think about who you know that could mentor you.
Ooh.
And I like to write it down. Don't think it, ink it. Don't think it, ink it. When you write it down, it becomes 10 times more powerful.
Yeah.
So write down, maybe list some mentors. Well, start with, where do you want to be mentored? Is it in your marriage? Is it
Yeah,
in your
pick an area of
right,
your life.
finance? Then start listing some of the people that could possibly, even in the wildest dreams, do it. And start thinking that way, because that will get your process going. But don't just think it, ink it.
You know, before Donna started mentoring me on the book writing, for 3 months I had been sending her money, and she didn't even know because her nonprofit was shut down or something, but I was sending her money for 3 months, so I had already started investing in her.
Seed.
And I think that was part of the reason why it clicked so well when we did come together. So you have to sow. Always be sowing. Sow.
So and open the door,
Yeah,
and then you needed to know when the door was open how to handle it.
that's right.
And that's what was important about tonight. We love you too.
We love you guys.
Thank you, guys. You guys have
Thanks
said a
for
lot of really
coming.
nice things about us over the past hour.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I guess some final words. I think back over the last 10 years, it is kind of interesting and exciting to think about it and fun to think about it from where we started to where we've come now. And we've had a lot of blessings and a lot of really good things that have happened to us. And I don't think that we're anybody special. I just think that, when you tie the thread back together and you follow it back, there's some things that have really stood out. And mentorship with these two has been probably the main one.
Top of that list,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
It
we're
was
very
funny
grateful.
because if you remember when we started, we asked Kevin, what do you want to do? And he gave us a list. And Judy read it before I did, and she handed it to me and said, you got to read this. Because Kevin had a lot of big dreams, and he was very specific about where he wanted to go and where he wanted to be in a relatively short time frame. And right there we knew, okay, this kid's unusual, right?
Well, it was so funny because the day we met him, we were mentoring a group of people. They were maybe 16. And on the way home, I said, that landscaper, he really stood out to me. There's something about him. I said, it was like he was highlighted. And
I said, was it his phone? Was it the phone that he had?
And John said, oh, I'm sure it has nothing to do with how gorgeous he is. And I do like cute boys, but no, there was just something special about him right from the beginning.
That's right. That's right. Okay, everybody, we're over our time limit. Thanks so much. Tune in tomorrow. We're excited to see you.
Dreams and goals tomorrow.
Day 4, if you can stomach it with us. Can't wait to see you. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.